Hi, today we are going to see about non-linear pharmacokinetics. So to know what is non-linear pharmacokinetics, first we will see what is linear pharmacokinetics. See, linear pharmacokinetics is like let's say you take your GIT here. Okay, I have given drug, some tablet. So drug is present here. It will be get solubilized and it will start absorbing. So the plasma concentration of drug will start rising slowly. From GIT, the drug is absorbing to plasma and the plasma concentration is rising slowly. So there will be a change in plasma concentration. Now that change in plasma concentration, dC by dt indicates change in plasma concentration. Now this change in plasma concentration is dependent on what? It is dependent on the concentration of drug present in the GIT. If more concentration of drug is present in GIT, more drug will absorb and more change in plasma concentration can be seen. So it is directly proportional to concentration of drug present in GIT. If you take the proportionality constant, you will get some constant, because in case it is absorption, I will take it as absorption rate constant and concentration of drug in GIT. Integrate it and apply log. After doing all this and rearranging the equation, you will get log Ct is equal to log C0 minus Ka by 2.303. So this is the equation for first order kinetics. Now you can ask me, sir, why you are talking about this when you are talking about nonlinear? There is a reason. If you draw a plot for this, take log Ct on y-axis, then take time on x-axis. If you draw the plot here, you will get a straight line. This we call, because we are getting a straight line for semi-log plot of this equation, or you can say this type of equation, we call it as linear pharmacokinetics. So we are getting a straight line. So there is a relation between the amount of drug present in the GIT and the change in concentration of drug in plasma. Now this is applicable only when the drug is absorbing through passive diffusion. Drug is absorbing through passive diffusion, you can see clearly the linear pharmacokinetics. Now we will see what happens when the drug is absorbing through active diffusion. I am taking absorption as a example and I am trying to explain what is nonlinear pharmacokinetics. Now again, let us say we have GIT, okay, you have given a drug, tablet form, drug is present here. Now it will get absorbed to the plasma. Now during this absorption process, the drug is absorbing through active diffusion. So here the drug is absorbing through active diffusion. Active diffusion means what? There is some carrier which is present for particular drug and the absorption is not concentration limited. It is in previous case we saw the rate of absorption is limited on the concentration. If concentration is more in GIT, more drug will absorb. But here it is not dependent on the drug concentration in GIT, purely the rate of absorption, that is your dC by dt is purely dependent on what here? It is dependent on nothing. It is not at all dependent on the concentration of drug. In such case you can't say that it is a zero order also. Okay, it is not at all depending. Here the whole process of rate of change of drug is happening due to the carrier. How many carriers are present? But we are concentrated on drug concentration, not carrier concentration. So how many carriers are present there? Depending on the drug will absorb. I will give one example. Let's say the drug has to absorb from here. We have 100 carriers here. I have given 300 drug molecules. So drug molecule number is 300 in GIT. In the membrane of GIT we have 100 carrier molecules. So initially what happens, 50 drug molecules will bind with 50 carrier molecules and this 50 molecules will come into plasma. As the time process, that 50 molecules, after leaving that 50 molecules, this carrier will come back and try to collect new drug molecules. So when time passes, so initially what happens, how much drug concentration is there, that much drug is being absorbed. So when you plot the graph here, can clearly see linear pharmacokinetics even in the case of active absorption. As the time passes, what happens? The carrier molecule will get saturated because we have only 100 carrier molecules. Drug molecules will saturate these 100 carrier molecules, and we'll see the shift from dependent to independent. So this point of shift, initially it is first order. How many drug molecules are there? That much concentration, plasma drug concentration is changing. And when the saturation occurs, we can see shift from first order to zero order. We call it as a mixed order. The point where the first order to zero order shift is observed, we call it as mixed order. And as the time process, because all your carriers are being saturated, now whatever, if you even increase the drug concentration by 600 molecules, drug molecules, then also the change in concentration is constant because all your carrier molecules are saturated. This we call it as zero order. So same drug, when the concentration is changing, it is changing its order of absorption. First it is following zero order, then mixed order, then it is following, first it is following first order, then mixed order, then it is following zero order kinetics. This we call it as, because it is non-linear. See, here we saw it is linear because here first it is linear, then it is curving. We call this as a non-linear pharmacokinetics. So remember, in any case, whether it is, I have given the example of absorption. You take absorption, distribution, metabolism and elimination. Take these examples. In all these cases, if the drug absorption follows carrier mediated, it will follow mixed order, non-linear pharmacokinetics. If the distribution follows carrier mediated, it follows non-linear. Metabolism, where again the enzymes which are metabolism get saturated, we get non-linear pharmacokinetics. Elimination also, in case of elimination, some will follow passive diffusion, some are actively eliminated through the body. Some drugs are actively eliminated through the body. In that case also we can see non-linear pharmacokinetics. So overall, in a short, what is non-linear pharmacokinetics is, if the drug anywhere follows passive diffusion in case of absorption and elimination, we call them as linear pharmacokinetics. If it is not following passive diffusion, it is following active diffusion, in such case we call it as a non-linear pharmacokinetics, because here some saturation is going to happen by the carrier molecule, whether it is distribution carrier molecule, whether it is metabolizing enzyme molecule, whether it is active diffusion in absorption and elimination. So that is the introduction for non-linear pharmacokinetics. Now how will you determine this? How will you determine the non-linear pharmacokinetics? In the linear pharmacokinetics, to know the determination, I will take other page. So in case of linear pharmacokinetics, in case of linear PK, whatever the PK parameters, pharmacokinetic parameters like clearance, then we have absorption rate constant, you have I will check you this. Okay, wait. Whatever the pharmacokinetic parameters we have, like fraction of absorption, fraction absorbed, absorption rate constant, elimination rate, volume of distribution and clearance. Okay, so it says volume of distribution, fraction, absorption, clearance. All these pharmacokinetic parameters are constant in case of linear pharmacokinetics. In case of non-linear pharmacokinetics, these pharmacokinetic parameters are not constant. So this is the thing where you determine whether the particular drug is following linear or non-linear pharmacokinetics. So what are the methods to determine the to see whether the drug is following linear pharmacokinetics or non-linear pharmacokinetics? Yeah, we'll see what are the methods to determine whether the drug is following non-linear pharmacokinetics. So there are several methods to detect this non-linear pharmacokinetics. First one is determination of steady state plasma concentration at different doses. Okay, give different doses. Generally what happens, slowly if you increase the dose, at fifth dose or sixth dose what happens, you can achieve the steady state plasma concentration. This is your steady state plasma concentration when the drug is following linear pharmacokinetics. Okay, if the steady state concentration are directly proportional to the dose, then linearity of the pharmacokinetics exists. That's what I said. As you increase the dose, okay, the steady state concentration achieving also increases. But if that proportionality is not observed, so give the different dose, at different dose interval measure what is the steady state concentration in the plasma. If the steady state plasma concentration and the dose given are directly proportional, then you can say it has a linear pharmacokinetics. If such proportionality constant does not exist, we call it as we call the drug to follow non-linear pharmacokinetics. So this is how you can find out whether the drug is following non-linear pharmacokinetics or linear pharmacokinetics. Another method is determination of some of the important pharmacokinetic parameters. I just told you what are those important pharmacokinetic parameters: fraction available, F, elimination half-life, and total systemic clearance. Okay, we have total systemic clearance. Total systemic at different dose of the drug. Any change these parameters which are usually constant. So usually your half-life will be constant. Remember, usually your half-life of the drug will be constant. If the half-life is changing, it indicates the drug is following non-linear pharmacokinetics. GPAT question, remember. When does the drug half-life will change? You will ask the question like this and the answer he will be given like linear kinetics, non-linear, single compartment, double compartment, something he will give. So in case of non-linear pharmacokinetics, the usually staying constant half-life will be changed. Usually if say the drug half-life is 8 hours, because it is following non-linear pharmacokinetics, its half-life will be reduced or increased. Okay, so usually your bioavailable, fraction available, elimination half-life, I am talking about elimination half-life, and total systemic clearance will remain constant. These are the three pharmacokinetic parameters which will remain constant in the body. If there is any change in this parameter, then you can say that the drug is following non-linear pharmacokinetics. Now we will see what are the causes for the non-linearity. Why the drug is following non-linear pharmacokinetics. Okay. Now here, it can be occurred due to absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion. So in terms of this, we will try to see why the drug is following non-linear pharmacokinetics. So in case of absorption, we will see what is the reason the drug follows non-linear pharmacokinetics. So the non-linearity in the drug absorption can be arise from three sources. From the three sources, the non-linearity of that is non-linear pharmacokinetics of the drug may be arise. What are in case of absorption? What are those reasons? One, when the absorption is solubility or dissolution rate limited. When the absorption is solubility limited or the absorption is not dependent on the concentration of the drug. Here the absorption is dependent on the solubility or dissolution rate. Drug is not at all soluble. In such case, you can see the non-linearity of the drug. Example is graciofulvin. So what happens at higher doses, whatever the GI content is there, it will get saturated. Because the drug is having less solubility, if you give more amount of drug, it is easy for the drug to attain saturation level. So the drug will attain saturation very quickly. That is your graciofulvin, because it is having less solubility. Due to this saturation, what happens? Once it attains the saturation, whatever the next, see, let's say we have drug solution saturated here. Whatever the any extra drug which is coming, it will get precipitated, it will not get solubilized. Unless and until whatever the saturated concentration is there, it is getting absorbed, then only the undissolved drug will get dissolved and it will absorb. So what is happening here? The rate of absorption is dependent on what? Not on the concentration of drug, it is dependent on the solubility here. Drug is not at all soluble. If it is soluble, then only it will absorb. So we can say solubility or dissolution rate of the drug. In such case, we can see the non-linearity. Example is graciofulvin. Okay, what happens there is, it forms saturation solution or drug is formed in GIT at any other extravascular site and the rate of absorption attains constant value. So what happens? Drug concentration increases, rate of absorption also increase. But what happens? The rate of absorption itself, the dC by dt itself will be constant. It will attain constant value. Why it is attaining constant value? Because it is depending on the concentration, or you can say depending on the solubility. First, the drug has to be soluble. Absorption attains constant value because the drug is getting saturated. Okay, the concentration of the drug is getting, or the saturation solution of the drug is going to happen there. Hence, it will cause non-linearity in the absorption. So this is the one source of non-linearity in case of absorption. Second source is when absorption involves carrier mediated. I told you already, when the absorption involves carrier mediated system, then also you can see non-linearity. Example is ribofulvin, then ascorbic acid and cyanocobalamide. So these are the drugs which are absorbed actively through active diffusion. Then also you can see the non-linearity in the drug. Okay, then pre-systemic gut wall or hepatic metabolism attains saturation. So what is happening generally, what this point is saying is, let's say I will talk about pre-systemic gut wall. So assume this is your GIT and this is the wall, GIT wall, this we call it as a gut wall. So here we have cells which produce an enzyme which will start metabolizing your drug. We call it as pre-systemic. Before going into the system, the drug is getting metabolized. Okay, in the GIT itself. So there will be gut wall cells which produce enzyme. This enzyme start metabolizing your drug. They start metabolizing the drug. When this thing gets saturated, what happens? There will be no metabolism. Hence what happens? The drug absorption will increase. See here. Example, propanol, hydrolazine and verapamil. The saturation of pre-systemic metabolism of this drug at high doses leads in increased bioavailability. Bioavailability should be constant. Now what happened here? Bioavailability is increased because, let's say the enzyme saturation is 100 molecules. So 100 enzymes are there. I have given 600 molecules of drug. Now what happens? 100 molecules of drug will go and saturate the enzyme. Now remaining 500 molecule will absorb. Generally what it should happen? Even though if you give 600, only 300 should absorb because 300 are being metabolized in the gut, pre-systemic metabolism only. But because in a higher concentration, the gut wall metabolism is getting saturated, you are getting more bioavailability. So bioavailability should be constant for the given drug, but here the bioavailability is changing. So that is the indication for you that the drug is undergoing non-linear pharmacokinetics. Okay, then distribution of drug. Now we will see what are the source of non-linearity through distribution of drug distribution. So what is happening here? Just wait. Yeah. So non-linearity in distribution of administered at high dose may be due to, if the drug is administered at high dose, we can see the non-linearity. It will be due to saturation of binding sites on plasma protein. So we have plasma protein. Let's say this is a protein. Okay, it has some binding sites like this. We have 4 binding sites. All the sites are being occupied by drug. Drug occupies all the sites here also. So the sites of protein binding are being saturated. Due to this, what happens? See here. the phenylbutazone and naproxen, there is a finite number of binding sites. There are only limited number of binding sites for this particular drug and plasma protein. Okay, at higher concentration, the fraction of unbound drug increases. So the fraction of unbound drug increases here at higher concentration. Why it is happening? Because they have only finite number of binding for the protein for these two drugs. So these two drugs has only finite number of binding sites. Let's say the binding sites are 100. I have given 600 molecules, 100 will go unbound, remaining 500 will be unbounded. So higher concentration in the plasma. What I need only 400, but there are 500 molecules which are unbounded in the plasma. Okay. Next is saturation of tissue binding sites. Now drug will also bound to the protein and it will also enter into the tissue. After entering in the, assume this is a tissue, we have some binding sites in the tissue. Inside the tissue also drug will go and bind. Now due to this what happens? Volume of distribution increases. Drug is present in plasma as well as in tissue, the volume of distribution increases. If the tissue binding sites are getting saturated, what happens? The drug will remain in plasma itself. Due to this what happens? The volume of distribution decreases. So that what the textbook is also saying. See here, thiopental and fentanyl. These drugs with large single bolus dose, if you give this drug in a large single bolus dose or a multiple dosing, saturation of tissue storage site can occur. This saturation will occur. Due to this the volume of distribution decreases. Okay, see here, in both the cases the free plasma drug concentration increases but volume of distribution increases only in the former case. In this case, okay. So in this case what happens? In the former case, why the volume of distribution is increasing? Because the binding site of protein is being in the plasma is less. So drug starts binding to the tissue. Due to this what happens? The volume of distribution increases. In the latter case, that is your saturation of tissue binding sites, this one, the volume of distribution decreases because tissue itself it is saturated with less drug. So more drug is not entering in the tissue, hence the volume of distribution will be less. So we will see the next one, why, from where the source of non-linearity due to metabolism, in the metabolism. Okay, so two important causes for non-linearity in metabolism are, what are those sources are, what are the causes for the non-linearity due to metabolism is capacity limited metabolism due to enzyme or cofactor saturation. So metabolism itself is capacity limited. See here, typical example include phenytoin, alcohol and theophylline. See, for alcohol, or you can say for phenytoin or theophylline, the amount of enzyme which is available to metabolize them are capacity limited. They will work only at particular capacity. If you give the drug more than that capacity, all the enzyme will get saturated and there will be no drug metabolism. Hence, again it will cause non-linearity. Next is enzyme induction. Some drugs are auto-induced. If you keep on giving some drug to the patient, at particular time what happens, this drug will induce its own enzyme which will destroy it. It will induce its own metabolism. See here, example is carbamazepine. What happens? Its plasma concentration has been observed, decrease in peak plasma concentration of carbamazepine has been observed on repetitive administration over a period of time. Why they have observed the peak plasma concentration is decreasing? Because it is getting metabolized. Why? Auto induction. So carbamazepine itself is inducing its metabolism after some time. In a long period, the carbamazepine will induce its metabolism. Okay, so we call it as a auto induction. Due to this also peak plasma concentration is decreased. Okay, that should be constant there, but it is decreasing here. Hence, we call it as non-linear pharmacokinetics. Next is excretion. So, what are the source of non-linear pharmacokinetics in the excretion? What are the reasons for this? Is active tubular secretion. We have ascending tubule and descending. This is descending tubule, and we are ascending tubule. Okay, this is ascending. This is descending tubule. So what happens here? If the drug is actively secreted in the ascending tubule, actively secreted into the kidney. What is happening? Let's say if the drug is not actively secreting, the amount of drug present in plasma is 100 molecules. If even though after metabolism, everything, normal excretion, if there is a active secretion in the tubule, what happens? More and more drug is being excreted into the urine. So due to this, what happens? The plasma drug concentration will decrease. See here, penicillin G, after saturation of the carrier system, a decrease in renal clearances occurs. So what is happening here is, we'll see. Next we'll see what is the source for the drug excretion. What is the source of non-linearity due to drug excretion? What are its causes? So one is active tubular secretion. We have tubules in the kidney. Okay, if you see in the nephron. Okay, sorry, we have tubules in the nephron. So here what happens? The drug is actively secreted in the tubules. When this active secretion is getting saturated, due to this what happens? Plasma drug concentration increases. See here, example is your penicillin G, after saturation of carrier system in tubular secretion. If this carrier system gets saturated, the renal clearance decreases, which will lead to the increase in its excretion half-life, elimination half-life. That elimination half-life should be constant, but here it is increasing because the clearance is decreased due to saturation of tubular secretion in case of penicillin G. Then active tubular reabsorption. Here first we saw tubular secretion, first we saw the secretion, now here reabsorption is occurring. So what is happening? Due to the glomerular filter is filtering the metabolite, but again that drug is been reabsorbed in the tubular reabsorption. Now due to this what happens? Example is vitamins and glucose. After saturation of carrier system, increase in renal clearance occurs. So see here, generally what happens? Vitamins and glucose are reabsorbed in the tubular reabsorption system. Now if this system gets saturated, what happens? The clearance of glucose and your vitamins will increase. Okay, the clearance of glucose and vitamins will increase when the saturation of reabsorption system occurs. Because they are not reabsorbing, hence they are clearing off from the body very frequently. So these are the various causes through which the non-linearity will take place. In the next class, we will try to see about Michaelis and Menten equation. Okay, Michaelis and Menten equation. I hope you understand.